Hi, good afternoon. I'm the founder of Chong Associates, CNA GS Tax Consultant and CNA Corporate Management Consulting, Sdn Bhd. Today we are going to produce a YouTube based on the free seminar on the personal tax planning. The objective of this free seminar is to train the bosses of SME and MNC as how to minimize the personal tax payable and also how to minimize the penalty payable. Now, so before we talk about tax planning, we try to understand about personal tax. In Malaysia, this scope of tax, that is the basis of assessment, is based on the income that you receive from Malaysia. Whatever income that you receive from Malaysia as an individual will be subject to income tax. Okay? Don't ask me what kind of income. So whatever income that you receive, okay, from Malaysia will be subject to income tax. Okay? Now, here, next is talk about rate, the tax rate. Okay, for individual, right? Okay, we have two types of individual. In tax, okay, we talk about resident and non-resident. It's different from citizen and non-citizen. In tax law, a resident, it can be citizen, it can be foreigner. Okay? So as far as the tax is concerned, alright, so if you are the tax resident, it means that you already stay in Malaysia for more than 182 days. There are other bases of this decision, but that one come to the detail, you can seek our this advice of the tax expert from our tax department. Okay, the simplest way to define whether you are tax resident or not is depends on the number of days that you stay in Malaysia. If the number of days you stay in Malaysia per year is more than 182 days, that means you are a tax resident, irregardless whether you are citizen or non-citizen. Okay, so that means now, even you are citizen, for example, you are working in Malaysia, then you stay all the time in Singapore, right? You are Malaysian, right? So long as you stay in Malaysia less than 182 days, right? So then all the time you are staying in Singapore when you are working in Singapore, then you are still a non-resident, although you are citizen. Okay, so in tax law, tax resident and non-resident is under different definition. Don't mix up with the citizen and non-citizen. Okay. So that means now, as far as this tax law is concerned, if you are resident, our tax rate is from 0 to 30%. Okay. So if you are non-resident, that means even you are Malaysian, right? So you are staying overseas, right? All the time you are overseas. Then you are considered non-resident. So your non-resident income, whatever income you receive from Malaysia, will be subject to 30% flat rate. That means whatever income, $1 income, you have to pay 30 cents of the tax. Okay? Next. Now, so the difference between the tax resident and non-resident, first thing as I told you, right? So that means now if you are the resident, your tax rate will be from 0 to 30%. We call it progressive tax rate. The more you earn, the higher tax that you have to pay, right? So if you are non-resident, you have to pay 30%. On top of that, if you are non-resident, right, now, you will not be entitled to all the personal relief. Okay? You will not be entitled for all the personal tax relief. You are resident, you will be entitled for all the personal relief. That's the second difference. Okay? Now, another difference is that okay, for the lower income group, okay, there's a rebate for the chargeable income up to 35,000 if you are tax resident. You are non-tax resident, there is no such a rebate. Okay? So now, next is about the sources of income. As an individual, right, your income can be from the business. If you are sole proprietor, you are partnership, right? You are director of the company. If let's say you've got salary, you got the partnership salary, sole proprietor salary. For the company, you have a director salary or director fee. All these are considered this employment income. So employment income, you can be a boss, yet you can have employment income. Okay? Now, for business, for example, sole proprietor, after salary, if your company earns some profit, which is taxable, then this income of sole proprietor will be added to your total income. That is called business income. So whatever business that you own, right, in sole proprietor partnership, right, whatever profit will be added to your employment income, become your total personal income. Besides this business income, employment income, if you have FD, right, in the bank, whatever interest, okay, will be also subject to tax under this income tax law. If let's say you own property, right, the rental that you collect will be subject to also have this so-called tax. If let's say you got pension, okay, certain type of pension fund, later we try to so-called explain to you, and others income, okay. So each of these so-called income from the different sources will be subject to tax under the separate section of the tax in section 12, section 13-2 and 13-3, and for interest is under section 15, and for pension is under section 17, and other income is under section 15B. Next. Now, employment income. So the employment income basically is inclusive, as I told you, salary, wages, bonus, director fee, commission, right, allowance, prerequisite, gratuity, overtime payment, tips, compensation, right, employer share option scheme, tax borne by the employer, etc. Okay, so the reason now, as far as the employment income is concerned, we call it cash income, that is in terms of salary. Right? Next is a benefit in kind. Benefit in kind are those non-cash, for example, later on we'll explain to you like share option or this. Okay, it's called benefit in kind. So that means under section 13(1)(a) is for those salary, right? So called cash payment one. So that means others so-called benefit in kind, that means non-cash basis. For example, the car, handphone, driver given, maid given, all these will be quantified in terms of cash as a benefit in kind, will be added to your tax payable. Next. Now, employment income. Employment income, as you say here, this is a so-called, we call it value of living accommodation. That means this is a benefit in kind. Say if the boss provide you with a stay, right? What is the market value of this rental, right? That is considered benefit in kind. Section 1D, employer contribution for employee make to an unapproved pension provision fund. Okay, so that means this also will be considered part and parcel of the income. Compensation for the loss of employment, right? Also will be considered part and parcel of the employment income, which is taxable. Okay, next. So that means now, after you go through those tax that payable, right? Next, you talk about personal relief. As I told you, right? If you are non-resident, you don't need to bother about this. This tax relief is only will be given to the tax resident. Right? If you are the Malaysian citizen or foreigner who stay in Malaysia within the 1 year, more than 182 days, then you'll be considered as a tax resident of Malaysia, and then you are entitled to claim this personal relief. We look at what are the relief, right? Individual, you can claim up to 9,000 a year, right? If you are disabled person, you can claim additional 6,000, right? So that means you've got this, you need some so-called basic supporting equipment for disabled cell, your spouse, right? Maybe, or even up to your parent, maybe another 6,000, right? So for this medical treatment, right? So there will be 5,000 for the medical treatment, right? For special need and carer, okay? For parent, okay? Let's say you want to send them to nursing home or whatever, okay? So that means this is something that the parent age above 60 and above, these are the conditions, right? Then the annual income of the parent not more than 24,000, right? Whatever income received by your parent, and restricted to 1,500 for only one mother. Okay, 1,500 for only one father. You got father, whatever stepfather, let's say you got 2 father or 3 father, but you are entitled for only one. Okay, now, so next is about medical expenses. Medical expenses for serious diseases, right? You can claim up to 6,000, right? There is the serious diseases. If you want to find out more, right, you can check with our tax department again, right? Okay. So next, education fund. Okay, for those working classes, if you attend this so-called diploma class, okay, in the approved IPTS, okay, in technical courses and accounting courses, right? So all these courses you can claim up to 7,000 of the school fee for your tax deduction. Okay. Now next is about domestic travel expenses. Okay. So these domestic travel expenses is for those so-called fee entered to tourist attraction center, expenses incurred from 1st of January. This is limited, not means this is only valid from 1st of March 2020 until 31st December 2020. I think basically is to encourage a local tour during the COVID-19. Okay. Now, next is about the lifestyle. This is also, I think, already over, right? Ended at 31st December, right? So, in fact, it's for those purchase of the reading material during COVID-19, right? So, this is only a temporary one, okay? Now, this permanent one, I think, is more important. Let's say you got kids, right? Then you want to so-called save for his education fund, then you can deposit 8,000 per year under SSPM. 8,000 per year only for one kid, okay? And this 8,000 will be exempted from the tax, can be tax deductible. And then you can put the money into this fixed deposit, and this fixed deposit interest is still due to you. But the 8,000 will be tax deductible, so long as you set aside this 8,000 and deposit under the SSPM. Okay, so those people who do not know how to go to SSPM, there is an office in Johor Bahru, Kompa. Okay, you go to Kompa, I think you can get this thing done. Normally the payment can be made by credit card or debit card, no problem. Okay, or by cash. Next is about this husband and wife payment for alimony, up to 4,000. Okay, disabled wife or husband, you can claim a personal relief up to 3,500. Next. Okay, here for children, right? So that means here, if the children is below 18 years old and is unlimited and receive full-time education, right? So that means you can claim, okay, based on 2,000. Okay, so if the children is above 18 years old, unmarried, for diploma and higher, that means if they go for IPTS, diploma and higher, right? So, and he received the education in Malaysia, is entitled for 8,000 per year, a child. Okay, now, so if the child is above 18 years old, right, and is receiving further education in Malaysia, right, so that means this is additional exemption of this 8,000. That means now, next is about purchase of the breastfeed equipment for the working lady, up to 1,000, right? So then for those lady, right, for working, right, and send the kids to the childcare. Okay, your childcare must be licensed childcare center, right? Then the fee that you pay, you can claim up to 3,000 a year. Okay. Now, for life insurance or EPF, okay. So life insurance, you can pay up to 3,000, the EPF can pay up to 7,000, but total up cannot exceed 7,000. Understand? So that means for this personal relief, right, 7,000 you can use partially for EPF, partially for this life or wholly life, wholly EPF, but total cannot be exceeding 7,000. Okay. Now next is about education and medical insurance. Okay. So that means now if you have this medical insurance for yourself, for your spouse, I mean your wife or your husband, right, or for your children, you can claim up to 3,000, right? If you have this education and medical insurance for your family. Okay. Now next is about deferred annuity and private retirement scheme. Okay. So this one is entitled 3,000 a year. Like next one is SOCSO. SOCSO is up to 250 ringgit per year. Okay, as an individual. Right. So here, now after you understand our tax payable, right? What are the income payable? What are these so-called tax rate, right? So then you can less out the personal relief, right? That will be your net tax payable. That means normally for your individual tax computation, you have to list down whatever income that you have, right? Income in terms of cash received, in terms of the salary that you get, director fee that you get, right? Bonus that you get, whatever commission that you get, plus whatever benefit in kind that you get, you know, add up will be your total income, right? Then you less up your personal relief, right? Whatever personal relief you are entitled, you less up, then will be your tax payable income, right? So that means now tax chargeable income, we call it chargeable income. Chargeable income is you see here. Now somehow you need to know. Okay, when you do the tax planning at time, you need to know that if you are the non-resident, you know that whatever income that you receive in Malaysia will be subject to 30%, right? So that means if you are non-resident, you are not working in Malaysia, right? You better don't declare any director fee, any director salary. You see that? Because every dollar that you declare as a salary or director fee will be subject to 30%, right? So now for this so-called individual, right? If you want to minimize the tax as an individual, right? If you want to set up the company, it's better for you to set up Senia Berhad. Okay? Now, if you set up sole proprietor and a partnership, right? Even you are non-resident, even you own the sole proprietor and partnership. Now, this company belongs to you, and then the partnership, you are one of the partners, right? So whatever, even though you are not staying in Malaysia, right? So that means whatever income that you receive from this sole proprietor and partnership will be subject to tax of 30% if you are non-resident. Correct or not? 30% payable, right? So that means now, in order to avoid this, what you can do is that you do a conversion of this sole proprietor and partnership into Senia Berhad. Okay? Then, after that, you operate your business under Senia Berhad. Okay? So that means now, instead of operate as a sole proprietor partnership, when you are non-resident, whatever so-called profit, taxable profit for this partnership and sole proprietor, you'll be subject to 30% tax rate. You see that? But once you convert into Senia Berhad, okay, now for this Senia Berhad, if you are the SME, that means your payout capital of this Senia Berhad less than 2.5 million. Okay, now for SME company, the first 600,000 with effect from this year, the first 600,000 will be subject to only 17% tax. After 600,000, only you will subject to 24% tax. That means now instead of paying 30% tax, okay, if your income of your company is less than 600,000, you only pay 17% tax instead of 30% tax. After paying this so-called 17% tax, okay, with the profit that you left behind in the company, declare as a dividend, then you don't need to pay tax. I mean your amount of tax in total is only 17%. Okay, so that means now, if you form a sole proprietor and partnership, although you don't declare salary, right, but you don't declare salary, your profit will be higher, correct or not? So that means when your profit in this sole proprietorship or partnership is higher, then your personal tax will be higher and based on 30% instead of 17%, okay? Or 24% if more than 600,000, okay? Now, so that is a very first planning that you can do. For the second type of person, if you are resident, what happens? I think it's also advisable for you to convert your sole proprietor and partnership into Senyap Berhad. A lot of these sole proprietor partnership, the bosses, because they do not have proper tax consultant, right? When they form the company at time, they do not have proper advice. They go to form the sole proprietor and partnership. Now, you see, compared to Senyap Berhad, there are a lot of disadvantages to start the business as a sole proprietor and partnership. So for sole proprietor and partnership kind of business, first thing first, it's a risk. Okay. Now, if you start a business under sole proprietor and partnership with, let's say, 500,000, right? If you incur a loss of 5 million at the end, after you operate for 10 years, 20 years, then people can sue you for 5 million. Right? If your company have no money to pay, they can dispose of your personal asset. Whatever personal asset, they can auction off and force you to repay to them, to make you bankrupt. Understand that? So that's why here, if you want to start business, you start as a sole proprietor, you're subject to much higher risk. When you start a business with 100,000, end up you have 1 million liability if you don't do it successfully. And then when you start the business as a sole proprietor partnership, if you sue your firm, you as an individual partner, you have to pay. Right? Out of the 10 partners, if one partner gets into trouble when they sue the firm, the 10 partner can go bankrupt also. Understand that? So that's why here, somehow if you start a sole prop, risk is higher. If you start a partnership, the risk even higher. Because any one of the partner bankrupt, you also get bankrupt for nothing, you know. You understand? So that's why a lot of people, they do not know. Right? They thought that, oh, sole proprietor partnership is very cheap to start. You see, low cost. That's why I go for it, easy, simple. But you know that the risk that you involve is very high. You see, so you see, you can go bankrupt, you will make the business losses. You can go bankrupt when people sue you for whatever thing, you know, when in business, you see, if let's say you produce a food, you poison someone, right? At the end, you know, they admit to hospital, people can sue you, right? Let's say if you're a worker, right? If doing the contracting job, then they injured, lost their leg, lost their arm, they also can sue you, right? You see, so there are so many so-called claims can against you as a firm, right? So once it is against the firm, right, the court award, let's say 500,000, 1 million, right? Maybe you start business only 100,000, then your claim can be 500,000, 1 million. At the end of the day, straight away can make you bankrupt before you do anything. That's why here, that is important for the individual to understand not only the so-called tax payable, also about the risk. So I advise all the SME bosses, right? If you are now operating with the sole proprietor and partnership, I think it's advisable for you to convert into Senyap Berhad as soon as possible to avoid the risk. Okay. Besides the very high risk of operation under sole proprietor and partnership, also is very bad for tax planning. Okay. Now, if you are the sole proprietor, let's say if you got the so-called whatever profit will be added to your this so-called income, right? Partnership one also, whatever partnership income, the share as a partner will be added to your personal income. You see that? So let's say your personal income now already 1 million, so you already paying, let's say, 28% tax rate, right? If let's say if you add in another let's say 100, 200,000, all this whatever additional income from this sole proprietor partnership will be paying higher than 28%. Whereas you form a sole prop Senyap Berhad, as I told you, right? If you are SME, the first 600,000 is only subject to 70%. Right? If your company pay tax, so long as you declare additional income as salary or director fee, right? So you use a company to pay tax, you only pay 70%, right? So then at the end of the day, you will save more tax, right? So that's why here, when you form a Sanya Berhad, you can adjust, okay? So as a personal, okay, so long as your income per year below about 100,000, your tax rate will be after your this so-called personal relief will be less than about 70%. So long as your personal so-called income is less than 100,000, right? Your top rate for income tax is around 70% after deduction of the personal relief. Okay, so that means now the balance of money you can keep inside this Sanya Berhad up to 600,000, also 70%. So your top rate will not be increased to 30%, right? So that means somehow you can limit yourself through this tax planning in this so-called this Sanya Berhad. Use your personal income salary of not more than 100,000 per year plus whatever income generated in the company, so long as not more than 600,000 a year, you can still pay the top rate at 70%. Okay, so that is the way to minimize the tax. Okay, now I give you the example of this. Okay, another thing is about the late submission. You know that our tax law already imposed very heavy fine on the late submission, on the incorrect return, right, and on the tax avoidance, right. So that means now a lot of sole proprietor and partnership, I mean, if they do not know how to do this account properly, right, and they do not know how to report the tax properly, right, at the end of the day, we're subject to very heavy fine. For example, let's say if you want to minimize the risk, of being fined. First thing first, you yourself, either you go to learn accounting. Okay, as far as our company is concerned, right, under our training arm of KTC Accountant Institute, we do offer 6 days accounting courses and 6-day tax courses to teach you how to do the tax planning and also how to do this accounting record. So if you want to make sure that you are able to so-called declare proper tax, first thing first, you have to keep a proper set of books or account. Okay, you either send your staff to be trained how to keep a proper set of books or account, then you can get the accurate financial statement. With an accurate financial statement, then if they are able to do the tax com through our this income tax training, then they can compute the tax payable. Okay, so somehow that means here, in order to minimize the risk, you yourself as a sole prop partnership or director, right, need to learn, or you can send your staff, whether your clerk, your account staff, your so-called your wife, to be trained under your accounting courses or tax courses, so that you can do the proper books or account and proper tax computation, right? So that means now I just illustrate to you under this case study. For example, you have a chartered income of 800,000. Okay, so if you are late submission, right, that means your late submission is a penalty. Late payment, once a late submission, there is a late payment. So that means this late so-called submission within a year is 15%, right? Maximum after 3 years it can be more than 45%. So the late payment also, right? So that means the late payment will be subject to late payment interest of 10%, right? Paying much higher interest. Your FD only 2 to 3% in the market. But if you are paying income tax late, you have to pay 10%. That's why it's not worth for you to delay the tax payment. Okay? Next. So now incorrect return. Incorrect return, that means if your account staff cannot keep a proper set of account, then at the end of the day, you'll be subject to the fine again. So let's say here, all the support partnership, Sanya Berhad will subject to tax audit. Okay? Now, when tax audit officer come and then they found out that you make mistake, right? And because of this mistake, you submit the incorrect return or your tax computation is not right, then it results incorrect tax return. The amount of this fine can be go up to 45% again. All these are the very heavy fine. Okay, next. So in order to avoid fine, as I said here, you see within half an hour, I just can advise you the fastest way to safeguard your risk, try to minimize your tax, right? Minimize your penalty is by way of forming the Senyap Berhad and to train yourself, your wife or your partner or your staff to be able to keep a proper set of account. So as far as and also of course, you need to form a Senyap Berhad. You need to form a Senyap Berhad. Let's say if you want to do the conversion from sole prop partnership to Senyap Berhad, you can look for our Vistio, right? For help. Let's say after company is formed, you need this so-called secretarial service. Okay, you can also ask Vistio to continue to help you. Then, if let's say if you don't have proper account staff, you want our accounting service, you can contact our Mr. Jimmy to help you on that. So then after the account done, you want to do the audit, then you can ask our audit manager, Ms. Dobby, to assist you. At the end of the day, okay, if you want to set up a new company, you have to get this income tax, some exemption, apply for this import duty exemption, sales tax exemption, right? Let's say you are this foreigner, you want to get the MW, right, license, right, for you to import all the raw material, tax-free, sales tax, or this import duty-free, all this under MW. So you can look for our consultancy department, Ms. Simon. So that means now, CNA already in the market for 33 years. So we are very established for providing one-stop services from the registration of company until the training. Next. So the training, we have a 6-day training course. We have this so-called SQL software for accounting. Right. So after you learn your account, 6-day account, you can continue to learn our software. Right. So to keep the account through this computerized software of SQL. Next. So we have also this accountant institute as a professional. We are the only one professional firm in Johor which own the accountant institute. So we have this accountant institute to train UK chartered accountant. Full time you can go to our DIA where within 3 years we will try to train you to get CAT and ACCA qualification. So we have CIA, this internal program which we combine LCCI and CAT as a double dip program. Right? So part time we have a CAT and ACCA program or LCCI program. So that means for this KTC Accountant Institute, we have 7 branches. We are this approved so-called Institute of Higher Learning by MOE Putrajaya. We are also the approved trainer by HRDF. So whether you are full-time student or you are part-time student, right? So you can so-called contact our person in charge for our corporate training, our part-time training for professional courses. Right. Next. Okay. If you have any question, please feel free to call us. Okay, or email to us. Okay, at this so-called telephone number 07-861-8321. Our email address is ca@caindcon.org. Okay, so now if you have any further inquiry, please contact us. Thank you very much.
Everyone, we welcome you to attend our very informative YouTube session on a free seminar on personal tax planning. The objective of this tax planning seminar, which is given free here, is for you to understand how to minimize tax penalties and how to minimize your tax payable. So with me here today, I'm very proud to introduce to you the personnel that we have from our CNA, which is our Chong and Associates, MIA recognized and registered accounting and tax consultants. So we have Mr. Jimmy, who is our accounts manager.
Hi everyone, this is Jimmy from CNA Accounts Department. If you are interested in accounting service, you may contact me. Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy. Next, we have Ms. Dobby Tan, who is our audit manager.
Hi everyone, I'm Dobby from Audit Department. If you have any inquiry regarding audit service, can feel free to contact us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dobby. And we have Mr. Chong Chai Pin, who has more than 30 years experience in tax and audit services, and he will be heading our seminar for this session.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm CP Chong, the founder of CNA and KTC Education Group. CNA has established for 33 years in doing one-stop professional services for more than 1,005 MNC and SME. So, in fact, our present operation is located in Desa Cemerlang. So, today, in fact, this YouTube basically is to educate the public about the tax planning on the personal basis. Okay, so in fact, within next half an hour, you'll be guided how to minimize our tax payable and to minimize the penalty payable. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chong. And we also have Ms. Wong, who is our tax manager.
Hi everyone, this is Ms. Wong from CNAGS Tax Unit Group of company. Should you have any inquiries regarding taxation, you may feel free to contact me.
Thank you, Ms. Wong. And from our secretarial department, we have our manager, Ms. Teo.
Hi everyone, I'm Ms. Teo from CNA Corporate Management Consulting, the secretarial department. If you have any inquiries, you can contact me. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Teo. So this is our panel that we have here today. And if you have any questions, please do call us at 07-861-8321. 07-861-8321 to speak to our very qualified and experienced personnel. Thank you.